name is Geoffrey Kent. I'm the fight director for the Denver Center Theater Company and currently the director of Listen Productions Macbeth. Today we're going to do a little intro to stage combat for you with my talented stuntmen here.
Hi, I'm Jeff Bull and I play McMurtry.
Hi, I'm Benaiah Anderson and I play Murderer 1.
Hi, I'm Seth Maisel and I play Murderer 2.
All right, for our first technique, let's look a little bit at the stage punch, right, and the ideas behind it. Now, obviously, when I have two actors on stage, Seth and Benaiah are pretty tough, but we don't want them to punch each other in the face. So what we're going to do is try and create the illusion of that for the audience. So the first thing we're going to do is just look at the idea of the punch. Benaiah's going to be my puncher, and we're going to set it up so you can kind of see the air between this. So we'll kind of show you behind the scenes. Benaiah's going to wind up for his punch, and Seth just gives a check-in with Benaiah and then looks over to the punch. Oh no, don't punch me in the face. As Benaiah drives that punch on a straight line across Seth's face, he's going to watch it go by just like a train. Okay, come on back for us, guys. Look at that again. Boom. So that's our first part. The next thing we have to do is add a little bit of sound to it, obviously, because since we're not really punching him in the face, we got to do that some other way. It's called the nap. There's no spelling test on this, but it's a K-N-A-P, nap, right? Nap started all the way back in vaudeville. If I wanted to punch Benaiah in the vaudeville, I might go, and I give him a nap by popping him on the butt. Now, if Seth were to time that along with our punch, we get our next step. Boom. The idea of the sound and the idea of the grounded punch and reaction. Third thing we have to do is hide the air, because if I sold tickets on this line, you wouldn't want to buy them. So what we're going to do is turn them slightly down to 3/4, so that what we can do now is see the punch line up on one side of the face. Can you guys show me that in slow motion? Here it is on one side of the face. We'll watch it pass through to the other side of the face, right? So let's see that a little bit quicker, gentlemen. There you have it, the classic stage combat punch. Thank you, guys. All right, for our next stage combat technique, let's look at how to stab poor Benaiah here. Now, the disclaimer that one always gives, and I'll give to you, is that these are trained professionals. Please don't try this at home. Now, we've heard recently in the news even about accidents that have happened with actors working with live steel and with working with sharpened weapons on stage. My general rule of thumb with stage combat, even with these guys, is don't give actors anything that is sharp. Right? They'll just hurt themselves. So today we're working with an aluminum knife, which looks incredibly sharp. It is actually quite dull, right? No blood that I can see. That said, I also have to remind actors when we're working that there's no such thing as a safe weapon. It's still a weapon. So our first thing we have is a wind up. Or get the knife, Benaiah's focusing on it. Second thing, as Bull comes in, he's displacing the point, placing the weapon slightly on the flat. The next thing Benaiah's going to do, which instinctively he was ready for, is give us a bit of a reaction. He's going to asymmetrically collapse his ribs onto his hip bone. He's going to keep his face up a little bit on Bull because it's much more sexy and exciting here, right? Nothing like watching your hero stab your villain at that final moment, right? And now the weapon is in his body. I like to remind actors, as gross as it sounds, it's harder to pull a knife out of a body than it is to put one in. I don't know that from personal experience. We'll say I know it from research, okay? That means when Benaiah has the knife pulled out of him and Bull starts to pull it out, Benaiah's body's going to go forward as though it were stuck on the knife, right? Once it comes out of Benaiah, he's going to then snap back because it hurts and he wants to close. So you've got that general looseness to it as opposed to kind of a stiff, right? Good. Now, when you're doing a cowboy western, you have to make it a little more gratuitous. So we're going to stab Benaiah here. Let's do that, please. Then we're going to give it a little twist. What Bull's going to do the twist is he's going to drop his shoulder, his elbow, and give it a little twist. Give me that, Bull. Right? Without actually moving the knife at all. The real idea that we're giving the illusion that he put the knife into Benaiah and then turned it, right, opening the wound. What we're really doing is leaving the knife in the exact same position, and Bull's just sliding around it as he pivots his body, and Benaiah gives us a good reaction. Let's see that stab with the twist. Nice. The stage combat stab. Thank you. Now the big question is, blood or no blood? I feel as a fight director, frequently the show lends itself to not use blood effects because we can empower your imaginations. Certain shows, like Curious as Lieutenant of Inishmore or Case of Macbeth, where they refer to the blood themselves, it feels like we need to embrace that. So I thought I'd demonstrate a little bit briefly how to make a blood baggie. So using the cheapest sandwich bags I can find, we can add into them a little bit of liquid. Then I can pull it up, twist it like a little, we're basically creating a water balloon, right? Just so it feels like a cooking show, which I happen to have right here. If I were to palm it or tape it along the handle of the blade, like so, what I can do is, I'm not going to pop it, but as I bring it into Benaiah here, once I bring it to here, I can give it a little bit of a squeeze put a stain on Benaiah. As it comes out, because now we're doing blood, we want to show that, Benaiah's going to turn forward so you can see the color that we leave on him. You're in what we call the cheap seats for our techniques today. Normally I'd put you on this side so you can't see what we're doing on the knife.
I'm dead.
And that's a dead cowboy. Thank you very much. So for our final stage combat technique today, we'll do a short sequence of cowboy punch-up that leads to the death of Mr. Bull here. Sorry, Jeff. So what we're going to do is set this up for a contact stomach punch to Mr. Bull. So the first thing that's going to happen is Seth's going to make me a stage combat fist, which is opposed to a real fist where we roll it as tight as we can and place the thumb along the outside of the hand. He's going to make his fist as though he's holding a roll of dimes or quarters in it, like so. So he's got a little bit of a cushion built into his hand already. Second thing he's going to do is Bull's going to show him where he wants it. Bull's going to say, I want it on my abdominals. For the sake of stage, we're actually going to drop that punch right on the muscle group in slow motion here so I can see that. Boom. Firing it from the hips and dropping in. Bull, once he reaches the contact in slow motion, can you? Boom. Bull's going to collapse, bringing his ribs and his hips together, kind of like Fosse, we like to say. Fosse. From there, Mr. Bull's going to drop to his knees. He's not going to drop right onto his knees. That would hurt, right? One of our rules in stage combat, no pain. No pain. So we're going to allow Mr. Bull to drop down, bringing his butt towards his heels, keeping his knees up, and then placing his knees on the floor, either in a 1-2 or a simultaneous, whatever's comfortable for him. Seth's going to step behind Mr. Bull because his days are numbered. He's going to place his hands along Mr. Bull's chin and head. Mr. Bull's completely in charge of this technique. One of our rules, the victim is always in control. So Seth's lightly placing his hands on Mr. Bull's head and on his jaw. Bull is going to look to his left on his own, and Seth's just going along for the ride. As he's doing so, he's opening up his hands so he doesn't accidentally pull on Mr. Bull's neck. Mr. Bull on his own, just leave your hands where they are. Mr. Bull's going to look to the right and wiggle his head a little bit, like so. Not giving himself whiplash, but giving the idea that we've pulled the neck past its point of no return. So if we do that together, hands on, what's going to happen is Bull looks, Seth goes with him, moving his body, and then as Bull snaps his head to the right, Seth's going to slide his hands off and let Mr. Bull do the bobble, and then drop down dead. Hands on the chin. Look. One thing missing from that. Sometimes it's celery, sometimes it's pasta. Today it's a water bottle. Have to recharge it. What's going to happen is Mr. Bull looks to the left and he looks to the right. We just give it a little twist. Right? Now, if you hide this underneath the costume and give it a little bit of sound, right, we can hide this on their bodies. For today, I'll just be their technician saying no, right? And as they give us a reaction, right. Thank you very much. A stomach punch, a fall to the knees, and a neck break.